What up? What up? I was sitting backstage and she said, how many of you love Grant Wise? And my heart just sank. I was like, and then you guys said yes, and I was like, oh, thank God, they actually do like me. Interesting statistic. 100% of the people that I have worked with, I've helped them generate leads. 100%. I've never failed. But, interestingly enough, it was not how I was graded or judged. I became, and I realized this very early on, judged based on your ability to convert leads. So even though I was helping people at a very high level have success from a lead generation standpoint, I was being judged rather harshly because not everybody was closing deals. And so I really started to dive into this topic. For years, we've invested, I cannot even begin to fathom how much money in sales process, in sales mentorship, and guidance, and coaching, and direction, so that we could help our clients understand how to convert at a really high level. So a lot of the content that I'm going to dive in with you on today is content that I have invested in myself to go to really big extremes to understand and execute on. I've spent, this is not a joke, millions of dollars on my sales education, okay? And I've helped, with that education, sell billions of dollars of real estate. I've traveled to every stage that you can imagine in this industry. I've spoken at Vaynerchuk's events. I've had shows on Cardone's network. I've been everywhere that you can imagine in this space. It's the only thing I have focused on for nearly the last decade. And so everything I'm going to teach you today is no fluff. We're not testing anything outside of the text that you have to test, so that's maybe a little conundrum. We're not testing anything. This is not theory. What I'm going to show you is a proven methodology for converting leads with Facebook at a very high level. Facebook advertising is one of the most profitable ways that you can acquire customers in real estate. Because your average cost to acquire a customer is $300 to $600. How many of you would gladly exchange $600 for a $15,000 commission check? You guys have been saying yes, but can I get like a hell yes on some of that, right? That's amazing math, right? Of course we would. But this is not what's happening for everybody. We're seeing conversion rates in the thousands of dollars, cost to acquire a customer into the thousands of dollars. So please pay attention, because I'm not going to give you a bunch of fluff. I'm just going to tell you exactly what to do. How many of you like when you just get like instructions and you can just go? I'm going to lay out some instructions for you all today, and you can just go. Okay? So today, I'm going to go over 4 basic things, right? I'm going to talk about calls, I'm going to talk about texts, I'm going to talk about emails, and I'm going to talk about appointments. And then I'm going to walk you through a couple of systems that you can create to hire staff and train people so that you don't have to do this anymore. How many of you love following up with your own leads? Oh. Should we come out with like a no that everybody screams at the top of their lungs? No. Not only no, but hell no, Grant. That sucks. So as we dive into this presentation, I want you to have the right mindset. You are going to fire yourself from doing this as fast as you can. Can I get a hell yes on that? Of course. Okay. We want to have the right mindset. This is not your life forever. This is your life until you build a system and a process, and that is the only thing that can replace you. How many of you have ever hired agents to do this for you and they sucked at it, and a month to 2 months later you're back at square one? Okay? We cannot give our problems to somebody else that doesn't know how to solve them either. And that's what a lot of people I see in this real estate space do. So we want to make sure that we have the right mindset. We're going to develop a system and a process for conversion. We're going to make sure that it works, and then we're going to pass it off and train people to do it. So I'm going to walk you through that today. The first thing I'm going to dive into is something that I call the value loop. The value loop is my conversation structure. Okay? So if you've got a piece of paper you can write on in front of you, I want you to draw a big circle, and then I want you to draw a smaller circle in the middle of it. And in the middle of that circle, I want you to write a time, 15 minutes, 30 minutes, 60 minutes. Typically, when we go to structure sales conversations, we determine before the call takes place exactly how long the conversation is going to be. Okay? Our calls and our conversations must have structure. So draw a line straight down the center of your circle, and on the right half, write winning a friend. Okay? The first half of every sales interaction that you have must be about winning a friend. You should not forget that this is a relationship-based business. Everybody says it's speed to lead. It's actually speed to relationship. Because the average lead generated in the real estate space is shared with, statistically, guess how many people? 9 agents to 1 lead. 2018, I think, or 19, they released stats, 86 million leads generated. How many transactions? I think it was like 5 or 6 million. Okay? So you guys are getting contacts. They're being shared with other people. This is why video content is so crucial. And that's not what my presentation is about today. But you must listen to this woman that is leading you, okay? Create video content. But when we get into a conversation with somebody, we've got to care more about the relationship than we do the transaction. Because if you're just fighting for transactions, I see agents making this mistake all the time, what's going to happen is you're going to get a transaction, and then it's over. But if you get a relationship, you're going to get many transactions. Different mindset. So the first half of your conversation is winning a friend. Asking really good questions, understanding their core motivations, understanding their pain points. And I'm going to dive into why that's important in a little bit. Second part of the conversation. So you wrote a line through the first half of the circle. Now kick a line out to 9 o'clock. Okay? The next part of your conversation, the next 30-ish% of your conversation, is all about adding value. Okay? In sales, people make decisions with emotion, and they validate those decisions with logic. They make decisions with emotion, and they validate those decisions with logic. Some of you are making this terrible mistake of putting out posts on Facebook like, just sold this house for $20,000 over asking in 7 days. Yay me. And that's not what my presentation's about today, but I can do a Grant rant on that maybe at some point, and we can talk about it. But the reason people keep doing this is because people are making decisions to do business with you because you have an emotional connection, a relationship. But when their friends ask why they decided to hire you, they say, well, so-and-so just sold this house for 7 days, $20,000 over asking. Because they're not in emotional rapport with the person asking the question, what they're in with you, whenever they decide to do business with you. When you uncover somebody's pain and you understand their problem and you help them work aggressively to achieve their core motivation, whatever it is, that's emotional. Okay? So the reason agents keep making posts like this is because that's what clients are saying. Well, I chose them because of X, Y, Z. I chose them because of their stats. No. They chose you because of the relationship, the emotional connection, which is very important. So you want to get somebody into a specific state in a conversation. You do that whenever you're winning a friend. They communicate what their challenges are to you. And so when you're adding value, a lot of very core sales principles teach us you want to break down the wrong beliefs and rebuild them up with the right beliefs. An example, very, very silly example of this, I believe I need to put 20% down. That's a wrong belief in some cases, right? So that's a chance for you to correct. So when you're adding value in a conversation, what you're doing is you're breaking down some of the misinformation maybe they have, right? They don't have the right belief about challenges, whether it's down payment or it's listing their property or an agent didn't market it the right way. Speaking of which, does Krista do a hell of a job teaching you all how to market property to sell? Can we get a hell yes on that one? There we go. And so it's very important that you start adding value. Now, if you want to continue with the circle that you've got, right, a little line out to 10 or 11 o'clock, the next 10 to 15% of your conversation is about product or service. If I'm in a sales conversation with somebody, it does not matter if I'm selling a $200 product, a $20,000 product, or a $200,000 product. It would not matter. I would spend literally 2 to 3 minutes max on my product because nobody cares. Nobody gives I don't know if I'm supposed to cuss in here. Nobody cares. Nobody cares. And so when you're talking about your product or service, you've got to understand that's really not what people are asking. They're asking what the next steps are. Don't talk about your product or service. Talk about taking the next step. Marketing teaches us, especially direct marketing, that everything that you put out is designed to sell the next step. Example, if somebody sees a Facebook ad, well, that Facebook ad is designed to get them to opt in. If somebody goes to your landing page and books a call with you, well, then your landing page is designed to sell them on booking a call with you. If the next step is going on a listing presentation, then your call is designed to sell them on the presentation, and so on and so forth. Okay? So when you're going through your product or service, understand it's actually not that you have great customer service. Nobody cares. It's not that you communicate well. Nobody cares. It's not that you've been in real estate for 30 years. Nobody cares. It is, what is the next steps? It's very important. It will radically transform the way you're able to convert in a conversation. And then lastly, the last little piece on the pie chart is close. So you win a friend, you add value, breaking down their beliefs and rebuilding them up with the right ones. You very briefly describe your product or service, which is the next steps in the process, and then you close. Now, when you close, you will figure out if you did the first 3 steps right. Because you will either get a, okay, yes, let's go, or you will get a, I don't know. My cousin happens to sell real estate. I probably should have said that before we started this conversation. You'll get something that will come up. And what objections are is a lack of trust. It has nothing to do with anything other than trust. It's not about money. It's not about your spouse or partner or needing to talk to them. It's not about the market. It's not about the cousin that has a real estate license. It is trust. So what will happen is if you don't get this right, you'll then have to go through what I call the closing loop. I invested $36,000 for an Australian man who called himself the sales warlord. Epic individual to teach me this one thing, the closing loop. He didn't call it that. I kind of made some of my own adjustments and started calling it that. So if you get somebody that starts giving you objections, well, the rule number 1 of sales, and this is actually another thing, another little bitty thing I paid a lot of money for, and then I got for free, Grant Cardone, always agree. Has anybody ever heard Grant Cardone say that? Rule number 1 of sales, always agree. I paid like $36,000 or $40,000, and I learned that free tip on the internet for free. I was like, yes, yes. Always agree. Guys, you can say anything in the world that you want to me, I will agree with you. 100%. Grant, you're bald. Damn right. Yes, I am. And I look good too, don't I? This is where y'all supposed to say yes. What's going on? Come on. Anything in the world that you want to say to me, I don't care what it is, I'm going to agree with you. Because what happens, whenever somebody says something that's maybe controversial or doesn't align with what you're saying, if you start to defend yourself, wall comes up. And then you have an enormous amount of work because you have to start rebuilding the trust. But if I agree with you, instantly, all of your combativeness goes away. And we can have an open dialogue and open conversation. Okay? Rule number 1 of sales, always agree. So the closing loop is really a very simple process. Thank them, reassure them, remind them, compare, contrast, and close. So we thank them first, whatever objection it is. Cousin's got a real estate license. That is amazing. I wish you would have told me that. Where do they work? Why aren't you meeting with them right now? I love asking dumb questions. Reassure them. You are not the only person that we've listed their house who had a family member that was licensed. That why aren't they here right now question is a great way to instantly remind them why the hell that person's not sitting here. Oh, because they suck. Oh, because they drink too much. Oh, because they swear too much. I don't know, whatever the thing is. Oh, because they've only been licensed a week. But when you ask dumb questions and you get dumb answers, people get to hear themselves say it, and they're like, oh, that's stupid. I shouldn't have said that. This is a lot of internal conversation. But Reassure them. You are not the only person I've worked with who had a family member in real estate. And you want to remind them. Now, this is one of the greatest sales lessons you will ever learn. Internal pain equals why they buy, or in your case, sell. Internal pain equals why they buy. There are two types of pain, external and internal. An external pain might be, my home isn't selling fast enough, we're trying to move, it's causing a lot of marital problems, this, that, the other thing, external. Internal struggle, I've got a ton of anxiety, I can't sleep, I'm stressed to the max, I just want to move into a new home so that I can feel like I'm actually providing for my family, whatever it might be. Those are the differences. People will communicate external pain to you all day long, but then when you ask questions and you start to peel back the onion, you will really grow to understand internally what type of conflict is being caused. And it's this internal conflict that you need to understand. Because when we go to remind somebody of what their big dream is, we also want to remind them of what their big pain is. Okay? Nancy, I'm here because I want to help you sell this property, and I understand that right now not having this property sold is causing you a lot of anxiety. You're not able to sleep at night. It's causing marital problems. You're trying to move forward and you can't. Okay, that's reminding somebody of internal pain. And then you want to tell a story, compare, contrast. I like to tell you a quick story. Nancy, we had a client that was a very similar situation. They had a family member that was licensed, and they felt like they really needed, out of some internal conflict, to go with the family member. And unfortunately, that person, whatever the dynamic story is, they were brand new in the business, they didn't really understand marketing, they didn't do a whole lot. They were one of those post and pray agents. They post the MLS and they pray it sells, right? And they, unfortunately, 6 months go by and they were out of contract, they didn't sell the house. But then Tony was a client that we worked with, and he had a family member that was also a licensed agent, but he didn't like mixing business with pleasure, so to speak. And so he didn't want to create any internal problems with his family, so he decided to hire us, not just because of the family situation, but because of benefit 1, benefit 2, benefit 3, benefit 4. And we were able to sell his home in about a week. And thankfully, because of a lot of our negotiation strategies, we were able to sell it for X amount of dollars over asking. So I want to ask you, who do you want to be? Nancy or Tony? And then don't say a word. 100% of the time, people will pick the latter. I want to be the person that made the right decision. And that right then is when somebody sells themselves on doing business with you. And then you can close. Great, I just conveniently brought this listing agreement. I just need a couple of signatures. Now, the reason I call this a loop is because if you still don't have trust and rapport, they will feed some other objection at you. And what do? We go right back through the loop. Well, thank you so much for bringing that up. I'm so happy that you admitted that. I want to reassure you. I want to remind you. I want to tell a quick story, and then I want to close. Every single conversation that I've had in the last 9 years, every single call we've talked about our products or services, or that we've consulted somebody on, we've used this call structure. We've taken over 17,000 appointments to teach people about our products or services. And we've helped generate millions of leads, hundreds of thousands of appointments. If you implement this structure into your conversations, you will be blown away. Now, you don't have to go to a listing appointment to test this theory. Wait until you talk to your spouse or partner or significant other later tonight. Try to convince them of whatever it is that you want to happen. I don't care if it's going to dinner. I don't care if it's spending money on something, buying Krista's program, which I am adamant that you should do. I've put some material in her new course that is going to blow you away, her new mastermind that will blow you away. I don't care what it is. But use the closing loop. I bet you get your way. Try it. I'd love to see what your results were. So this is our conversation structure, and then this is our closing structure. We've used this very methodically, and it's helped us build multiple million-dollar companies. It's helped us sell billions of dollars of real estate, and I think it will help you too. Okay, so next. Data is the language of business. I would like to give you guys just a very quick heads up. Your feelings are screwing you over. I was going to say the other thing, but I heard somebody say this is PG, so I'm going to keep it PG. Your feelings are royally screwing you over. And this is something that is so important to understand. I didn't feel like getting up this morning at 4:30 and working out. I didn't feel like it yesterday or the day before, the day before, the day before. I haven't felt like it for the last 4 years, as a matter of fact. I didn't feel like taking a cold shower. I think those things suck so bad. So bad. And I haven't wanted to for the last 2 years. Okay? Your feelings, I think you should have them. 100%. I'm thankful that you do. But they have no real place in business. Data is the language of business. Okay? It's okay to feel however you feel. But it should not drive your business making decisions. And this is so crucial. This is where I see a lot of people really mess up and follow up when they're building these types of systems, because they'll say, oh, I just feel like the leads suck. Well, okay. Let's look at your numbers. Turns out the leads don't suck at all, because you've closed 3 deals. This is a very profitable business source for you. You have no clue what the hell you're talking about. If you ever get lucky enough to become a client of mine, this is how I will talk to you. I'm just kidding. I will never talk to you like this. Somebody in the room raised their hand and like, yes, actually, this is how he talks to people. You've got to lean on data. It's okay to think that something that you're doing maybe isn't working, but you should rely on data to drive decisions. I was consulting somebody, and they said, well, I think I'm going to cancel sync. I don't know if it's working for me. Okay, let's talk about this. Analyze the last 2 years. Turns out it's one of her most profitable business sources. $800 to get a customer from sync. She was making an average like $8,000 or $9,000 per check and had like no clue. She was relying on her gut, her intuition, which was dead wrong. Get your feelings out of it, okay? When you step into the captain's chair of your business, you are a leader, a CEO, a business owner. You do not need to make decisions with feeling. Do it with data, okay? So if you think something's not working, that's just communication to go look, to go verify, but rely on data to make decisions. So don't start implementing what I'm teaching you and say, well, I don't think it's working. Rely on the data. Okay, so there's 3 really important metrics to track. There's response rate, your appointment rate, conversion rate. Now, specific to Facebook ads, these 3 metrics will show you exactly how to dial in your follow-up systems and processes so that you can convert at a really, really high level. Okay, first, response rate. With Facebook ads specifically, you want to maintain a 24% response rate. And right now, we're seeing that text messaging is largely driving that forward. So what I've done is I've categorized the 3 top texts that we are sending today that are helping us get a 24% response rate. Our process is very, 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 very simple. We build these texts into automation, so as leads come into your business, these automatically go out. And then what we do is we watch the data. Every 10, 15, 20 leads, we see, hey, is 24% of the leads coming in responding to this text? If the answer is no, we change the text. We go to the next one in line. And then we do that again, and if the answer remains no, we go to the next text. And I realize there's not a seller text on here. So an example of a seller text that you would send is, hey, is this first name? Answer, yes. Hey, great. Can you please confirm your address so it can get you that CMA you requested? Simple, right? But you want to use one of these variations of text in automation. You do not want to be manually doing this. How many of you manually do a lot of your follow-up? I know why you all hate it. Because you're the one doing it. Right? It sucks. Automation can replace most of your job in follow-up. Okay? Lean on automations. You guys, especially if you're using the Mayshore method, an amazing CRM platform, use automations built out within the Mayshore method so that as leads come in, text 1 fires off. Now, what we want to do, knowing that 24% of the leads that we generate should be responsive, is I like consulting my clients to focus on the leads that are responsive. So if I generate 100 leads, I'm really only going to be having conversations with 25 people. This radically reduces the time you have to invest, and we let automation take care of the other 75%, 76%. Okay, so these 3 texts, you've got to track this. But what I've uncovered is it takes about a week, takes 20, 30, 40, 50 leads, and then you've got this fixed. Now, once this fixed, boom, you can move on to step 2, and that is optimizing your appointment rate. You want to target an 8 to 13% appointment rate. Now, this is going to take you a little bit of time, because in the beginning, you don't want to do this, and it's very tedious, and you are going to think that it sucks. And I told you before we got started, you want to go at this with the right mindset, that you're going to fire yourself from doing this. Give yourself a month, 2 months tops to optimize this work, and then pass it off to somebody else. Okay? This is not your life forever. But if you get this right, Facebook can become the most profitable thing that you do. These are the list of questions that we try to get a prospect to answer before we get them to an appointment. So we're essentially qualifying. I do not recommend asking more than 5 questions. So if your first text is this first name, you should really only try to get 4 more questions answered. Whether it's buyer or seller, this is just meant to give you a little bit of a template. These are questions we actually use. You want to try to get at least 5 questions answered, and then start to transition. Now, here's a couple things about texting. If you initially write somebody a book, you're dead to me. Like, you're done. It's over. You're not going to get a response. Okay? With Facebook, remember, it's disruptive advertising. People don't go to Facebook to look for property. They go to Facebook to look at their friends and look at their family. They see advertisements, they click, they're distracted, they go to your landing page, they check out whatever it is that you're offering, right? That's disruptive. So when you start to immediately text them, do not be surprised if they don't answer you, especially if you send a big, long text. You're making the brain burn too many calories. I'm not joking, you're laughing. Yes, you're making the brain burns calories just the same, right? You're making the brain think too hard. You got 1 second, 2 seconds, and you're done. So these really simple questions that we ask that require 1-button responses have a very high success rate. Do not send books to people, okay? How many of you have, and you can admit it, I'm not going to shame you, maybe, just kidding. How many of you have sent like books in your text? It's like 16 lines long. It's got your NMLS number for some reason. It's got your website, your social medias. It's got pictures of your kids. It's got everything in that one text. How many of you have done this before? You can admit it. I'm not going to like berate you with stuff. We got 6 honest people in the room. Thank you. When you do that, instantly the brain turns off. Nope, going right back to doing what I was doing, because you're disrupted their attention. You've got to keep this stuff very simple. So you want to almost think of this like your texting is very preschool, right? Very simple question. And then you go to kindergarten, mildly more complex question. First grade, even more complex. Second grade, even more complex. You really want to ask simple questions and then graduate them in their complexity so that you're just getting more thought-provoking answers. We've been taught since we were little kids, if you start something, you gotta finish it. If you start a conversation, you have been programmed since you were a child to want to finish it. Okay? So if you can get somebody hooked, you can really have success. People will drop off. They'll stop answering your questions. You know what you do? You wait 15 minutes and you ask a different question. No more complex than that. But if you can get really good at this, so what we see is that it takes about a week to get the response rate right, if you're focused, and then it takes about 3 weeks to get the appointment rate right. So if you generate 100 leads, we want you to convert 8 to 13 of those into appointments, people that you actually met with. Okay? That will translate to a 1 to 3% conversion rate. If you go back and remember some of the value loop, some of the closing loop, if you've got great presentations, you do a very good job at building rapport, and you remember, if you get somebody to book an appointment with you via text, that probably means you're about to have like a discovery conversation, 10 or 15 minutes long. Tell me what you're looking for. What are you trying to accomplish? Remember, each step is designed to sell the next. So if my text sells you on getting on an appointment, then my appointment is likely designed to sell you on a listing presentation or a buyer's presentation, whatever you're looking for. If you do these things right, get a 1 to 3% conversion rate, listen to this math. Average cost to generate a lead right now on Facebook is like $3. If you're generating sellers, we're seeing around $7, $8. $3. If you generate 100 leads and you get 8 to 13 of those people to book time to meet with you, that means your average cost, let's just use 10, your average cost to get an appointment is $30. How many of you would pay $30 for appointments? Hell yeah, yes. Get a little less PG on that one, yeah. I will absolutely pay $30 for an appointment. And then a 1 to 3% conversion rate, meaning that at least one of those people is going to do business with you. How many of you would gladly exchange $300 for a contract? Of course we would. If you take the time, I'm not going to sugarcoat this. It takes time, 4 or 5, 6 weeks to really optimize this work. But if you do it the right way, it can have an unbelievably profound effect on your business. Reporting is the most important thing that you can do here because it will show you, the data will show you whether or not it's working, because all of you are going to get into this and you're going to say, I hate this, I don't want to do it. That's feeling. Don't pay attention to your feelings. It's okay to feel them, but like keep doing what it is that you're going to do anyway to have success. Lean on reports and then document what it is that you do. The goal here, again, is to fire yourself from follow-up, which 100% of you want to do. You can't do that if you don't document what you're doing. So you want to create sales processes. Remember this, systems do not fail, people do. Systems do not fail, people do. You are the one that is failing if you are not converting leads from Facebook ads, because you have not built a system and a process to facilitate that. Once you do, you're golden. You can really start to reinvest a percentage of your commission back into your marketing budget, and you can go from spending $300 a month to spending $3,000, $30,000 a month if you want to. So document the process, use sales reports to guide your decision making, and remember, systems don't fail, people do. You're building a system so that you can put people into your system. Some of you try to get people to build a system, and they are not qualified to do that. It's very, very, very important. So when you're building out the systems and process, all of you have notebooks in front of you. If you go to your page right now and you write 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, guys, step 1 is step 1 of the process for converting leads. Step 2 is step 2, the process of converting leads. That's all I'm talking about when I say document your process. What is step 1? What is step 2? What is step 3? What is step 4? How many of you would love if I would just give you a document that showed you all of those steps so you didn't have to write it all down? Okay, I'll make sure that I get that back to you so that you guys look like you're like, oh, I don't want to do any of this. So just your old buddy Grant will give you the template, so that way you don't have to do it yourself, and you can just build from the template. That'll make your life a whole lot easier. Okay, so when you're building a sales team, you want to hire staff and train people to take this process over for you. Warning. Huge warning. It's like if I could scream at the top of my lungs, I'm not going to do that. Do not hire buyer's agents to do this. They suck at converting leads. We got any yeses on that? Anybody have any experience? Or is somebody in here butthurt because you are a buyer's agent and you're not good at converting leads? My man, he said, I don't take it personally. Look, real estate agents are focused on right now, for the most part, buyer's agents especially, they want deals today. They don't want leads. They want people that are ready to go. So you build systems and processes to get buyer's agents appointments, and I'm convinced that they shouldn't even have that. that they should just be opening and closing doors for people that have communicated they are ready to go. But do not hire buyer's agents. If you have buyer's agents that are doing this for you right now and they're not doing a good job, when you get done with this event today, call them and tell them they are fired. I'm not joking. If I was at a Tony Robbins event, I'd have one of you pull out your phone and do it right now. Huh? Right now. Have you guys seen that man make women and men break up with their significant others right there in events? Damn, that is a level of mastery I have never seen in my life. You just called and ended a whole chapter of your life, but I have you. However, in his Tony Robbins voice, he's like supporting them. It's amazing. I love Tony. That man has helped me out of some deep, deep, deep times. Big shout out to TR. So fire your buyer's agents, and I promise you they're going to be happy about it. They're not going to be upset. They're like, oh, thank God, I hated this. Okay. Here is job roles and responsibilities of an ISA. So what I've spent the last year and a half really doing outside of the systems and processes that we've built is I've spent a ton of time actually helping hire, staff, and train ISAs. I've worked inside of some really productive teams and have helped people build these things. This is a job description. I will make sure you all get this so that way you have it. This is what you're looking for is somebody to manage your database to convert leads. And then these are some of the top personalities that would be really good at being ISAs. Sometimes when I've taken on clients who are like, no, I got to hire the buyer's agent. Great, can you give me their personality assessment? Personality assessment is the opposite of somebody that would be good at following up with leads. Some of you don't like following up with leads, and it's almost like you can't even control it. Like, I hate this process so much, down to the very core of who you are as a human being. Anybody feel that? Like, yes. Yes, I hate it so much. It's because you're not wired to do it. And that's okay. There are people, though, that are wired to do that. I am a visionary. I'm a dreamer, man. I love innovating. I love technology. I love high-level problem solving. I suck at operating a business royally, and I'm okay with that because I hate it too. Like, I'm not good at it. I stay in my zone of genius, and you all should work to stay in yours, okay? Sometimes when you're bootstrapping a business, though, you don't have a choice. You've got to get into the trenches and build. When you start to hire somebody that can replace you, look for people that have these personality traits. Now, this is all stuff from the Culture Index sent to me by my good friends over at Rocket Station who I've relied on for sourcing ISAs. I'm not giving like shout outs or intentional things like that. Just a great company I've had a great relationship with. These are the types of personalities that you want to look for whenever you're trying to get somebody in place to follow up with leads. And I will probably end with this. Train your team. Too many of you are wearing 17 different hats. Did you know, statistically speaking, the realtor has an average of 17 different job roles and responsibilities? You're like, hell yeah, I do, man. I'm tired. I've been doing all this work. I got so much going on. I'm sick of it. I love this quote. The CFO asks, what happens if we invest in developing our people and they leave us? And the CEO says, what happens if we don't and they stay? It is a lot of work. It is so much work to build a business. And you all, and I mean this from the bottom of my heart, should be thanking the hell out of Krista Mayshore in the back. Because that woman's got the arrows in the back, okay? Because she went out and she really suffered through a lot of the systems and processes that you guys can just copy. Which is amazing, okay? But when you're installing systems and processes in your business, if you don't take the time and invest the energy into training your people, not only will they not thrive or survive, they will ultimately leave you, okay? I've found personally it takes an average of 3 to 6 months to get an employee in a company to get them fully trained, fully adopted to the culture, and completely autonomous. And some of you might say, well, Grant, I can do it in 3 weeks. That's fantastic, right? We've discovered that our process takes a little bit longer. But when we get people in our company, they don't want to leave. They love it here, right? I'm talking about Whitley. If you will take time and invest in people, you will be blown away at what type of resources you begin to unlock in life. People are just some of the greatest things ever. I love you guys so much, and I'm so appreciative of you. I love Krista so much. People are, I hate to use the word the greatest resource, but if you get connected with the right people and you really pour into them, some of you already know this, it is amazing what they can do. Your job in your business is to be a leader, okay? Not to be the one in the business doing all of the work. So I hope that you will consider firing yourself as fast as you can, as cash flow will allow. We want to make responsible decisions. But when you start to do that, do not be upset when it takes a little bit of time for the people that you are investing in to get it. Really pour into those people. And if you do, if you have a high level of emotional intelligence, if you will care about the people that are helping you grow your company, they will never leave you. They might. Take that back. But you will find that you will have tapped into this hidden resource in humans that will just take you places. You would just be blown away where it is that you could go. I've always told people relationships have taken me farther in business and in life than Facebook ads ever will. But as I look around my life, I'm fascinated because Facebook ads actually started most of those relationships. You guys, I can't overstate how much you all mean to me. I really do appreciate you all so much, and I'm thankful to Krista for giving me, just a glimpse at what you guys do behind the scenes every day, giving me access to the Mayshore platform, and to all of you wonderful people. I hope that we are doing our part in making your life easier. I love you. I appreciate you. I hope you guys got a lot of value from this presentation. So thank you. See you.